Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Fringe Coverage. This podcast profiles the stories, swings, and stars of the LPGA Tour. And whether you're new to women's golf or a longtime fan, hopefully this podcast helps you develop your own rooting interest in women's professional golf. And we've got a fun two-parter for you today. The first half of this episode, Tom and I are going to recap the action at the Meijer, as well as give our picks for this week's 2026 KPMG Women's PGA Championship. And then we are going to turn it over to an interview we did earlier with Hannah Green. And as always, here to help me break down the action of the week and give our picks, Tom, how's it going, man?
Mark, nothing, man. It was a fun week of golf. We had Father's Day. All that happy Father's Day to you and all the other fathers out there. Just looking forward to this major, number 3.
How was Father's Day for you?
Flying by. Father's Day was good. I got to watch some LPGA, some PGA. You know, saw my dad, saw my father-in-law. You know, nice and relaxing. How about you?
It was a great weekend. This year, Father's Day doubled up with my wife's birthday, which is always an added wrinkle, especially when Dad had an event all day on Sunday, so I was not present. We celebrated on Saturday. We saw friends. We went to the beach all weekend. It was all good stuff. And then I was out of pocket really all weekend, but certainly on Sunday for both the men's U.S. Open as well as the Meijer. You were frantically texting me. I was at a NASCAR race in San Diego on a military base, and there is absolutely no service on the military base. So I couldn't even ask for updates because my texts were bouncing back saying did not send. So I flew blind all day, not knowing what was going on. And then I started getting a couple texts from you, what was going on. And I went, wait, save it for the pod. I want you to give me the recap there. So I did do a little reading on the U.S. Men's Open to see how close Sam Burns got to chasing down Wyndham. It sounded like a pretty awesome tournament.
Can I talk about that?
Sure. You want to talk about the U.S. Open first?
Again, it's the fans, man. You know, I know Wyndham Clark's not the biggest fan favorite, but, you know, after a tee shot saying get in the bunker and get in the water and just like cheering when he misses shots, like that's not what we're looking for, right? First off, I mean, he's a U.S. Open champion, so give him some respect. He did represent the team on the Ryder Cup, so give him, you should be rooting for him a little bit. I understand he's got like a little bit of a history. He's, beaten up a locker, thrown some clubs, sent some problematic tweets. Understandable. But I don't know. That just seems weird. I know that golf probably benefits from having a villain, but I don't know. I'm glad that the USGA took some swift action and kicked fans out when they saw this. They kicked a child out, apparently.
Really?
For heckling. I don't know if heckling has just become more of a thing because of social media and people want to post it online that they got into Wyndham Clark's head or whatever. I mean, it's nonsense. And also, it was a par 70, so it's not even really that big of a, we talked about
You really got to get off this par 70 thing, man. Man, so I think you summed that up really well. I feel like maybe the short version is the punishment doesn't match the crime. Like Wyndham is known in circles to be a jerk, like that. But he has had some moments, as have a lot of other guys. Wyndham has also been associated with some. Wyndham has won some events that left a bad taste in people's mouths, not because of Wyndham, but when you start associating that. So like when he won the U.S. Open back at LACC back in 23. Remember, people were flaming that tournament because no fans showed up. It was super corporate. And like that's where Rory kind of caved and Ricky and Xander got out early to hot leads. Like all the big names came. And so that tournament already had some negativity around it. And then Wyndham, at the time, a no name comes out and wins it. It's kind of like the stinker major and you kind of blame it on Wyndham, even though he did nothing wrong. Fast forward. Remember when he shot 60 at Pebble Beach? And it was a rain-soaked tournament, and they called it after 54 holes. Again, people were super excited about the way that tournament was shaping up. They didn't get the final round. Wyndham happened to be at the top of that leaderboard. And then you throw in the very, very, like, the very real stuff he is responsible for, chucking the club, almost beheading a volunteer with it, hitting a T-Mobile sign, which is hilarious because I think he's sponsored by them.
It's on his hat. It's his hat sponsor. And
then, obviously... caving in a locker at Oakmont. I will say the Oakmont thing is horrible. Don't get me wrong. all of a sudden fans become like the biggest like museum keepers of the game for one day a year. Like they've never even knew the locker room at Oakmont was a big deal. But once they hear that Wyndham Clark has done it and enough talking heads have said, hey, this is a big deal, all of a sudden it's become a huge affront to them as if it was their own home that it happened. It's like, I believe that it was a very bad thing. I just be like, man, that's a really bad look for that guy. And I don't really have a reason to cheer for him. How that gets to all of a sudden actively hoping and out loud saying you want shots to go awry like it's the Ryder Cup. In the men's U.S. Open, this is a U.S. guy who's getting just killed by them. I mean, it's okay to be a villain. It just doesn't. I think your point about heckling is an interesting one. And we've talked about this on the LPGA side, right? We don't necessarily want that type of fandom to make its way to the LPGA. So I'm always worried that as the LPGA gets larger, I don't want the Phoenix Scottsdale tournament to turn into the LPGA because I think that could get out of hand real quickly with women's golf and women's sports and the inappropriate things men can say if drunk. Quite honestly, so that's tough, man, and it takes away from what. Look, I know that the first round he might have got the good end of a draw, and really he probably should have been at 2 or 3 under at the end of the day. Just really benefited from the way the cards fell and the way they were syringing the greens and all that. But the dude did it. I didn't root for him, but the dude did it. He didn't just play well on Thursday. He played well Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Put together 4 really good rounds of golf. Sounds like Burns made a charge. I saw a couple missed putts in the highlights that down the stretch, but. It's got to be scary if you're the leader. First of all, for 4 days, winning wire to wire, that's so impressive, playing with that lead the entire time. But if you're getting chased on a major championship course, there are very few people I would want chasing me less than Sam Burns because he's the best putter on tour. Like, you have to sink putts to like chase someone down on a Sunday in a major, and that dude's the best putter in the world by miles. That has to be like, oh shoot, if he takes the lid off that cup early, which it looks like maybe he did. His front nine was pretty good. Yes. That's got to be the literal feeling of footsteps in the golf world, I'm sure.
And the issue also was Wyndham was playing with Scotty Scheffler. It was Scotty's birthday, and there's probably no bigger fan favorite than at least no American fan favorite than Scotty. And to be playing on the guy's birthday, like everybody's rooting for him to clean up and they want to get his career Grand Slam. So I think Wyndham just kind of had a lot of against him. But, I liked his presser at the end. He said, I know people were booing me. They weren't happy with how I was performing. And, I've apologized for my past deeds. And he's like, but today's my day. Like, good for him. And, during the U.S. Open thing, he, it became very public that his mom died of breast cancer. And that was a big deal at the time. And I don't know, you didn't see this, but his dad ended up sneaking onto the course and showing up and surprising him. He didn't know he was going to come. So he took a red eye from Denver and he showed up. So nice feel-good stuff. I guess just the fans couldn't get behind him. Hell, Wyndham Clark hit my daughter at the Genesis last year. The ball bounced twice and hit her in the foot.
A ball. Oh, okay. Jeez, man. You had Fringe Coverage breaking headlines. Wyndham Clark. Jeez. Yeah. Allegedly, folks. Allegedly.
If I can forgive him, others can as well.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, so congrats to Wyndham. He earned it. I always feel sorry for events that are going up against other events that are of larger magnitude in the same space. So like it was a busy sports weekend there were a lot of things going on. The Meyer LPGA Classic, kind of the tune-up event before the third major of the year, was coinciding. I was texting with you. I think we knew after day 2 that your pick was going to beat mine. Tom, I'm going to let you do the recap, but can we start here? I did not realize your pick was going to beat everyone and win. Congratulations.
Hey, thanks, bud. Yeah, that's only maybe the 5th time one of us has actually picked the winner, and a few of those times have been Nelly. So,
but you know what? There have been 16 tournaments this year. We have picked the winner 4 of those 16. So 25% of the time we've nailed the winner. I actually think that when there's 156, 5.
Yeah.
Like, Tom, that to me sounds like actually pretty decent success rate, given that there's 144 teeing it up every week. So
you're right.
So let's not bury the lead. Miyu Yamashita wins. Your pick.
In the playoff.
Tell me all about it, man.
So I was also very busy this weekend with youth sports, as is my usual summer. But I was able to catch a little bit of the final round yesterday, and I watched a little bit on Friday as well. But yesterday, I got to watch the last few holes, and I was rooting for Miyu. I was also rooting for Lottie Wo just because I think she's a lot of fun to watch. I texted you as soon as it happened, and poor Lottie, she missed. I said within 3 feet. I ended up Googling it. It was an 18-inch putt that she missed. I don't know if you've had a chance to see it, but it was. I mean,
give me the context. What hole? Where are we on the course?
This is the 18th hole. She had a chance to win it had she parred it, and then she ends up bogeying it, misses an 18-inch putt, and so then she has to go to a playoff, which Miyu wins immediately. So first hole playoff. Lottie was charging. It was going back and forth between her and Miyu, and Miyu was playing very consistently. Lottie ended up chipping in, I think it was the 16th, from the bunker to get a birdie. So, things just seemed to be going her way. And everybody was very happy for her. I will say the fans, there weren't a lot of them. I don't know if you saw the U.S. Open. I mean, there weren't even that many fans for Wyndham when he was finishing up on day 2 or day 3. I thought Lottie had it, and I'm sure she did as well, and I'm sure everyone did, and it ended up being a little bit more dramatic, and you got to feel for her. That's really tough, and all I could hope for is that she does bounce back and is able to kind of still get her head in the right space for this KPMG this weekend.
Can we first just remind ourselves that Lottie hasn't even been on tour for a year yet?
Mm-hmm.
How nuts is that? I mean, we've probably said that 5 times, that exact sentence, that including the how nuts is that, but she started, mid-July last year, August? And she's already won once this year. She won a couple times last year. She was a betting favorite in a major towards the tail end of last year. I mean, look, she's super young. The cliche, but probably true cliche, is this kind of stuff builds some, you start building some tough skin, some character. Like, she's going to be better for this. You kind of buried the lead here, man. Miyu started the day 5 shots back and shot 64. Yeah. She was not the leader. Like, she went out. She shot the round of the day to get to 17 under. That's a pretty impressive pick, man. And we'll get to our picks in a little bit. But that, before we get any further of a recap of this tournament, that means that you get first pick going into the KPMG Women's PGA, which I think we might be fishing in the same pond. So, and we'll get to our picks here in a little bit. But congrats to you. That's a heck of a pick, man. It's one thing to win with Nelly. It's another thing to win with Miyu to pick your spot. So well done. So just some notables. I was texting with you on Thursday. My rookie, Riley Smythe, made a cut. And you know what? I'm not saying that tongue in cheek. I am so thrilled for Riley. For those of you that don't know, Riley might be leading the tour in driving distance this year. That's kind of a mixed bag stat because she's only playing 2 rounds of tournament because she's missed every cut so far this year, but she absolutely bombs the ball. She finishes tied for 12th, just misses a top 10 in her first ever made cut. Kind of boom or bust nature when you think about it. Riley Smythe had both of her labrum, had 2 different hip labrum surgeries in high school. So she was like super impacted the way she couldn't turn. She had her left hip done, and then like 3 to 6 months later had to get her right hip done, like had absolutely no range of motion. So congrats to Riley. Another good week for Cassie Porter. I mentioned her about a month ago. In mid-February, Cassie was 165th ranked in the world in the Rolex rankings. Now she's up to 68. She's climbed almost 100 spots in like 3 or 4 months. She's playing really good golf. Another Aussie to keep an eye on. A Rio Takeda sighting. Rio, prior to this week, only had 1 top 10 on the year. This was someone who was who was in the Rolex top 10 all last year. Has not had much of a season, so good to see her finding some form and someone to keep an eye on as we head into the next couple majors. And then a couple notable missed cuts. Gino, that's a tough look, man. Missing a cut going into Meyer. And I don't know the course profile of Meyer well enough to know how much that matches up against Hazeltine. But man, you want to play 4 rounds of golf as a tune-up. Lauren Coughlin missed the cut. Megan Kang, Aki missed the cut. I'm not liking that. And then just a note, put a finer point on Lottie's climb. Again, the woman who was not on tour 11 months ago is now the number 5 golfer in the world. That is to date her highest ranking. So you mentioned it. If you don't know, this week is the KPMG Women's PGA Championship at Hazeltine. It's the first time we've been there since 2019. We dropped a full preview episode earlier this week, and we had Grant Boone from NBC and Golf Channel on to help preview the course and the storyline. So we're not going to rehash that today, but we've not made our picks yet.
Since you and I are not allowed to choose Nelly anymore, she won't be our official pick. My question to you is, do you expect Nelly to win this?
I'm going to give you a wishy-washy answer. Nelly will be the betting favorite.
She is.
I would love nothing more than for Nelly to win it because, man, winning 3 in a row to start a season, that's got to be some rarefied air. I just think the weight gets heavier and heavier as you go. You would think, oh man, she's freed up. She's won the majors. Like now there's a different type of history she's chasing. Winning 3 majors is tough. And there's some other people starting to play some good golf. So I don't expect Nelly to win. I expect Nelly to be in the top 5.
Yeah.
You?
Okay. Yeah. I would love nothing more. Like she didn't tee up this week at Meyer. She played in the Dow with a partner before that. And then before that, she won the US Open. So that was the last time she played a solo round of golf on tour. So yeah. Hopefully she's been practicing. She's ready to go. I think it would be fantastic for the sport if she did it. It's not a 50-50 Nelly versus the field, but she's probably got a pretty good shot of winning it. And I'm here rooting for her.
Well, I never know how much stock to put into this, but Nelly's had a frenetic 3 weeks. Like since winning the U.S. Women's Open, she was in New York, in Times Square, on the Today Show, she was doing everything, which there's no way that doesn't impact the way you would otherwise be going about your training and your practicing. And because she did have that sponsor or that commitment to the Dow Championship, she did have to turn it right back around. So she did New York the first half of that week, then went and did the Dow. So, and then I think probably luckily for her, she had Meyer off this week, but you wonder how much that takes a toll, everything. Mm-hmm. So I just think there's a lot of things stacking up against Nelly. But I do like her with a week off and having kind of been resharpening her game and focused again. I'm sure that's probably what this week was dedicated toward. But Hazeltine's a big ballpark, the way Grant described it. And when I hear big ballpark, the first name that comes to mind is Nelly because she hits it so much further than everybody else. Mm-hmm. So I do think she is going to have a statistical advantage there. I just think there's just so much riding on it for her every time she tees it up that that's a lot of pressure. We were texting Friday or Saturday night, and you told me you already knew who you were picking. Did the results of Sunday have any bearing on whether you would pick that person?
Yes. After Saturday, I was pretty locked in on Lottie.
Yeah.
And as much as I would love to pick Lottie this week, I think I need to give her at least 1 week to recuperate, to reassess, to rejuvenate. I'm going to win this week, and then I will save her for the Evian the week after, probably.
Oh, don't tell me who you're picking when.
Well, I'm going to win this week, so it doesn't really matter. But after speaking to a few LPGA luminaries at the U.S. Open on this very pod, I'm going with Ronnie Yin this week. As people hopefully listened to with Grant Boone, he was so high on her, and he said he spoke to her caddy and her trainer, and everyone's just like, she is locked in, she is ready to go. And aside for a little bit of a flame out that Sunday, I mean, she was right in that U.S. Open. Yeah. So I'm hoping she has her mind right and she's ready to go this week. Ronnie Yin, come on down.
I love that pick. Back to your question about would I pick Nelly if the board was clear. So again, I've picked Nelly and Ronnie this year, so they're off the board for me. You've picked Nelly and
Hannah Green.
Hannah, so they're off the board for you. If I had a clear board, I'd probably pick Ronnie this week. So I think that's a great pick. Like you said, she was really good form going into the U.S. Women's Open, played really good at the U.S. Women's Open, and I think she's just a major hunter. She might have a little bit of Brooks Koepka in her of like, he doesn't really show up every week to the traditional LPGA tournament, but when majors come, she just switches that on. I almost texted you Saturday night saying, hey, if it's Lottie, you might want to just watch Sunday because if something happens, you may want to reconsider. The only reason I say that, I almost want you to pick Lottie just because remember what Gino did? Remember when Gino four-jacked Kroger last year and then the next week she came out and won? Lottie's going to be pissed, man. And after talking to Mel Reed a couple weeks ago, I don't think you want to piss Lottie Wode. Like, eesh. Lottie, if you are listening right now, I hope you just wreck shop this week at the peak.
As do I. I would love that.
Tom seems to hate you, Lottie, actually. So I think I'm the only one that's rooting for you now. Tom, you were on his short list, and now Tom, really just hot takes today.
I don't want pressure on her. I'm trying to,
nice.
Long term.
I got to tell you, man, we're going to decide this in real time. I had it narrowed down to 6, and then I had it narrowed down to 4. And Hannah and Lottie were the 2 that I eliminated. So who does that leave? Obviously, we have yet to pick Gino. Remember, Gino's so young. She's only played in 4 KPMG women's PGAs. She's made 3 of 4 cuts, and of those 3 cuts, 2 were top 5s. She was tied for 28th at this year's U.S. Women's Open. She just missed the cut at Meyer. I think that's going to rule her out for me. But there's going to be a point where I pick her. It might not be 2026, but Gino's going to win. And I think I said last time we may not be on that block when she does it, but she was on the short list. Hyoju. So Hyoju's made 7 of 10 cuts in her women's PGA career. All 7 of those were top 25s. Like if she makes the cut, she's an automatic top 25. 4 of those top 10s, including 2 top 5s. She missed the cut at the U.S. Women's Open. I don't know what to make of that because that stuff happens, and Hyoju's kind of boom or bust. She's either in the mix or she's just straight up missing the cut. So she's kind of on the short list. Minjee, our defending champion of the KPMG Women's PGA. Tom, she's played in 11 KPMG Women's PGAs. She's made all 11 cuts.
Wow.
7 top 25s, 2 top 5s, including a win. She finished tied for 32nd at the Meyer last week. She hasn't had a top 25 since March this year. So she's not been super, super heavy in contention. Again, Minjee might be one of those big game hunters, gets up for majors types. If she's on that short list, I always think a defending champ is hard though, coming back. But again, it's a completely different course. So I put a little bit less stock in that. And then obviously I got to keep bringing Charlie's name up, right? Charlie's KPMG Women's PGA career, she's made 7 of 11 cuts. 6 of those were top 25s, 2 top 10s. And then maybe most importantly for Charlie in the positives category, she's finished top 12 or better in 5 of her last 6 majors. And that one that she missed was a missed cut somewhere last year. And I think it was right around that time that she was fainting and having some health issues. Other than that, she's been top 12 at worst over the last year and a half in majors. So that's where that's who I'm debating, and feel free to take those notes for when you pick one of them next in a couple weeks at Evian. Which, man, we're in a crazy major stretch right now, aren't we? It's
and the
packed.
big thing that we haven't talked about, Mark, is that after this week we get to reshuffle our teams, and we can drop somebody and pick up somebody new. So we'll take that offline, or maybe
that's going to be a fascinating episode.
Yeah,
because I might even have some rule objections of just are you allowed to drop everyone? Because for example, we got to keep our EYs.
No, you can only drop. Yeah, no, of course.
But if we want to trade EYs, we can. Let's get weird with it. Again, different episode, but those are the things I want to bring to the table. So stay tuned for the mid-season reshuffle with Tom and Mark. So I'm gonna do it, man. It's finally time. Charlie Ho, you heard it here. Fringe Coverage alum, I'm putting you on blast. You're going to win the 2026 KPMG Women's PGA Championship at Hazeltine. And you're going to run away with it. She's going to win by 3 shots or more.
That would be fantastic. I hope she gets to go on a tour after and get her flowers.
All right, man. We've now done our preview episode with Grant Boone. We've officially made our picks for the week. I think there's nothing else left to do but to turn it over to the expert on Hazeltine, the 2019 winner of the KPMG Women's PGA Championship, Hannah Green. Enjoy the interview. And today we've got some Aussie golf royalty in the house. She's a major champion, 8-time LPGA Tour winner, 2-time Olympian, and has already racked up 4 worldwide wins this year en route to her number 6 world ranking. Since capturing the 2019 KPMG Women's PGA Championship, she's become a fixture among the LPGA elite, winning all over the world, representing Australia at the Olympics and the International Crown, and establishing herself as one of Australia's biggest stars. And later this month, she makes her triumphant return to Hazeltine, the site of her first LPGA victory and major championship. Hannah Green, thanks for joining us. Welcome to Fringe Coverage.
That is quite the intro. I feel like I've got a bigger head now.
Hey, you earned it, though. All I did was read your resume, so you earned every bit of that.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
We're so excited you're joining us today. We have a ton of things we want to talk about, but let's start probably what's most obvious. We mentioned at the outset, you've already won 4 times this year on 3 different continents. What do you attribute your 2026 success to?
I feel like I've been asked this question a lot, and I really don't feel like I've changed a whole lot in the last 12 months, let alone, I guess, my entire career. I just feel like probably the things that haven't been going so well have actually been a little bit better versus things that do go well. So my putter is very hot at the moment. I think that's always really nice to have going into the season, but I've been kind of able to limit the amount of bogeys that I do typically make. And I think that's kind of been the difference this year specifically. But I always have a good start to the year. Wouldn't say I win usually 4 events straight away in the first few months, but yeah, it's been kind of a crazy start to the year, and I'm obviously super excited, but I do hope that I can kind of maintain the level that I feel like I should play throughout the rest of the year.
Is winning becoming easier for you because you've done it, or are you now changing your expectations?
Yeah, I think probably a little bit of both. The first win that I had in Singapore, I was really, really nervous. It'd been, I guess, a year and a half since I had one, and very different circumstances. I guess I had, Minji and a lot of really good players kind of breathing down my neck. And so I even said to my caddy husband, like, I am feeling very nervous and I haven't felt like this in a very long time. And everyone always outwardly says that I look really calm and collected. But at this time I was like kind of still shitting myself. I was like, oh my God, like I still only have 4 or 5 holes left, but I know what I'm kind of trying to do. So I think having that definitely helped me in Australia. It gave me, I guess, more attention on myself and more expectation and wanting to win, but it also did help me in the moments where I felt like I was getting nervous, or perhaps I would have been more nervous. So now that I am, I guess, into the top 10 in the world, I definitely do expect more on myself. And major championships are always the tournaments that you want to win, and they're the ones I've probably struggled at the most the last few years. So it's going to be hard to manage that, especially returning to Hazeltine, where I have obviously won before. So that's kind of going to be the next big challenge for this probably next 2 to 3 month stretch of the summer. And hopefully, if I play the way I've been playing so far, I think I'll be okay. But it's going to be hard not to. I want to win these events. Obviously, every week that I enter, I want to win. But that's just realistically not what happens unless you're probably Nelly Quarter right now. I don't know what a win percentage is, but it's very high. So it's a really tricky one to now manage and have to think about.
You said it. Tom and I were laughing off air. I mean, prior to this year, 2024 was probably not even arguably your best year on tour. You won 3 times that year. What is it with you trying to have a good year the same year Nelly decides to go do something? Like, you had a 3-win year, and no one's talking about your 2024 because she went out and busted out 7. You've already won 4 times this year, and I think you two might need to settle some stuff on the course. She's coming for you every time you get hot.
Yeah, I didn't really think of it like that, but yeah, she could have the odd years. I'll have the even years. They seem to be the better ones for me. But yeah, I mean, I feel like there is definitely more attention on me, and I guess it's kind of been different to manage. But I also have more of appreciation for what Nelly and Gino and all those other players kind of deal with on a week-to-week basis. So that's definitely something that I guess didn't realize how much can take a toll on you. Having other things that you have to do, doing perhaps more media or more eyes on you. So it's kind of been, even though it's been amazing to have the success so early in the year, it's been kind of nice to have to deal with that and learn what works to then get into the middle of the year and hopefully still continue success and know how to manage things.
Mark and I were actually up at Riviera last Thursday. We got to watch you and Nelly on your opening round. How did you think that the course played that day?
Yeah, it was... I thought it played well. I've said in an interview before that I felt like Riviera was actually a really good venue for us. And a lot of these, historic venues are becoming really good venues because the men just hit it way too far. And yeah, they're outgrowing a lot of these golf courses. But for us, when they were designed, all of the penalty areas and bunkering and things like that is kind of where we land the ball now. So I thought Riv was really well set up. I think the USGA did a good job. I think it was good that we're in California where it's always good weather and, not a whole lot of wind. So that makes it easier. But I actually think that the course played quite short, but it still was very difficult, obviously, seeing the scores, having 8 under par win. But that's kind of what you expect at a major, and specifically more at the US Open. You're not expecting double digits at all. So I really enjoyed Riviera. It was tricky enough, but then also if you played well, you got rewarded, and if you hit a good shot, you got rewarded, which I think sometimes at major venues you feel like doesn't always happen. So, yeah, I thought it was a really good turnout. But yeah, the first round was kind of strange. I guess, yeah, I had lost my voice during the tournament. I wasn't feeling that great, so I was kind of happy to have a under par round. But yeah, it felt like a major championship venue.
You mentioned it earlier. You got Hazeltine coming up. For those that don't know, it's the first time we'll be back at Hazeltine since you won in 2019. Take us back to 2019, and more specifically, how has your life changed since that win?
Yeah, I mean, I said it in multiple interviews, even the day that I won KPMG, that I had no idea that I would win a major. I feel like the expectation of me was very different back then. I was kind of the person that everyone was almost thinking, okay, she probably can't pull this off, instead of perhaps Aria or SH Park at the time, who was playing really well. They probably thought that was more the headline of them coming from behind and winning. And so I felt like I was nervous, but not in an anxious way. It was just more exciting because it was completely new to me. I think now if I was in that position, have more to lose than I did as the rookie or the second year on tour who had no win. So it's going to be really cool to go up there. I haven't been back since 2019, which is a bit of a shame, but it'll be cool to go back to 16, kind of recreate the putt that I hold to make birdie, even go down 18 and hopefully not have a 4-iron in. Hopefully I hit a little bit further than I did back then. But I'm super excited to get back. And I think it's going to be really cool. I guess I don't know if it's been much of a headline back in Australia, but I guess I'm defending Hazeltine, but Minji's defending the crown, the trophy. So I think that'll be a really cool headline, and hopefully we can get some good crowds out that week.
So what should fans expect? Give us a little preview, at least of what you remember of Hazeltine. What should we expect of the test that Hazeltine's going to provide?
Yeah, well, I think the good thing about Hazeltine is that every hole is very different. There's dogleg lefts, there's dogleg rights. I think I was actually one of the poorest, like my statistics showed that my driver or off the tee was one of my poorest stats throughout the entire field. So I'm hoping that I can make it a little bit easier on myself. But I think the reason why I won is because I putted so well that week, and the greens are quite tricky. I remember them having lots of undulation and lots of even subtle slopes that kind of tricked the eye a little bit. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how it's set up. The round one back in 2019 was like pouring rain. I didn't have any rain pants, so I have some now. So hopefully I'm a bit more prepared in that sense. But yeah, it's going to be, well, I think they know how to set up a major. So I think it'll be quite easy for them. But yeah, I think all of us are quite excited to go back and play a very good golf course.
It's been a very fun season so far for a lot of you on the tour. What excites you the most about the current trajectory of the LPGA?
Yeah, I think probably even last year, having so many different winners on tour. I don't really know if it's ever been like that on the PGA Tour or even LPGA, but there's just so many new faces and so much talent that is on this tour, and it's not always showcased. I guess when Nelly and I are winning a lot of tournaments, it probably doesn't get shown as much, but there's just so many players that can win, and they just, I guess, haven't been fortunate enough to do it yet. But there is a lot of, the competition, I feel like every week has gotten better and better, and that's obviously going to happen. But compared to what it was like in probably 2018, my first year, everyone is a way better athlete. So I think it's exciting. We have really good major venues this year. Playing Evian, playing at Royal Lytham, that's also a really good venue where men have had some good history, as well as LPGA. But yeah, it's just exciting to play those championship golf courses, but also return to smaller places like perhaps Grand Rapids next week for our Maya LPGA.
You've already mentioned Minji. We know that you have a very strong Aussie contingent that you travel around with. We're going to ask a little bit. We're going to have some fun and put you in the hot seat to do some rapid fire questions about that group you travel with. But before we do, give our fans a little bit of an idea of what are the unique challenges that face an Australian who's trying to make a living on the LPGA that they may not realize.
Yeah, it's a tricky one. So I've been, I guess, on the tour since 2018, and my first year I probably traveled away from home for 4 months, and at the time I didn't have a place to kind of base myself in the US. So I kind of just ping ponged around the country. Fortunate that I'd met some host families and kind of stayed with them when I had weeks off, but I didn't have one specific base that I would always return to. And so if you don't really have that, it kind of feels like I guess the length of time that you're away, it feels even longer. And so during COVID, I used Orlando, Florida, because Golf Australia actually had a house that they were renting for people like me that didn't have our own space. And so we could use that. So that was really helpful to have. But then I kind of outgrew Orlando. And so I joined a golf club here in Fort Worth called Shady Oaks. And I guess this has been my home club since 2022, I think. So it's just been really nice to come back to somewhere familiar where I know the restaurants that I like. I know that I usually rent an Airbnb most of the times that I'm here. Just things like that, just feeling like it's actually a week off instead of just another week where I'm traveling. So it's tough. Australia is so far away. You can't just exactly hop on a 16-hour flight and deal with jet lag for a few days if you have a week off. You need to kind of find somewhere here in the States that you feel comfortable playing, having a good golf club to practice at, but also a place where you feel like you can rest and have things to do if you need the distraction of not being at the golf course. So it is something that all players have to face. But I think as an Australian, you really couldn't get any further away from America. So it's been really tricky and it's hard. All of us Aussies, we love being at home. And so we do kind of try and manage our schedule perhaps a little bit different to other players. But yeah, it's not the easiest place to travel back and forth from.
Well, let's talk about that group. Whether it's Grace Kim, Steph Kiriakou, Minjee, Karis, anyone that you're traveling with on a regular basis. What we want to do is we want to know who's the most likely to do kind of these set of prompts we're going to throw at you. So let's. I'm really curious with this first one, just because I feel like this might be all of you. Who's the most sarcastic of all of you?
Oh, most sarcastic is probably Karis Davidson. She's actually one of the funniest people I know. You never know what's going to come out of her mouth sometimes because she's just hilarious. But I think she's probably the most sarcastic of the group.
Who's the best trash talker?
Best trash talker is probably Steph. I think she always says that she cops it from us, but she can quite easily give it back to everyone too. So she's probably wins that title.
All right. You're going to trust one of them to plan the perfect vacation for the group. Who are you entrusting?
It could be you.
Yeah, and it can be you. It's true.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to say Grace because she's the most organized of us all. She's actually known to double book flights or double book car rentals, which is crazy to me. But I also do feel like I'm called the mum of the group, so I would probably also take a little bit of that.
You mentioned earlier that you like being in Texas because of the meals. Who's planning the team meals when you are all together?
Team meals, probably Minjee or Grace. Minjee is quite the foodie. She's also gluten intolerant, so I feel like she kind of has to look at the menu prior to going to a restaurant. But during International Crown, both in San Francisco and Korea, they were the ones kind of looking at the restaurants. So I would leave it to those two.
Most intense competitor?
Oh, Steph Kiriakou, 100%.
Oh, no hesitation on that one.
No. I mean, all of us are super competitive and it doesn't even have to be golf. But Steph, she has bets against her osteo, caddy, or us players, and she can just come out of nowhere. She could be in no form and then all of a sudden have 6 birdies in 9 holes. She's just absolutely loves any sort of money game or bet where someone has to suffer.
Probably my favorite question to ask because it's just, I have no idea where you're going to go with it. Who's most likely to survive the longest on a reality TV show?
Oh, gosh. Survive the longest? I don't know. I feel like it probably would be me, depending on what type of reality TV show we're talking about.
Okay.
But I don't think any of them would last. Now that I'm kind
That's a good answer as well.
Yeah. Well, I don't even think I would, to be honest. I don't think we're all very different, but also similar in a way. So It really depends on the TV show. But if it was like Survivor or something, I think it would be me. I don't think the other girls would do very well.
Yeah, because it's a very different question. Like if we're talking about a cooking show, if we're talking about like a dance competition.
It's more a matter of like we asked Mel Reed a couple weeks ago this question. We said who on tour would be most likely to, and she's like, oh, Charlie Hull, like just no doubt. I mean, again, someone who's just more gonna like eat up all of everything that goes into a reality TV show. Who's most likely to miss their tea time?
Or miss their tea time? I would probably say Steph. I think she's good at setting alarms, but sometimes she doesn't leave herself enough time when she's warming up. But yeah, I would say Steph. Sorry, Steph.
Who in the group is being trusted with being the DJ, either in the hotel room, the long car drive?
Yeah, that's a good one.
Probably Steph, actually. She's probably got the most genre of music that she likes to listen to, but all of us don't really like country and she loves it. So that's kind of when we're like, okay, next. But she also plays the music so loud when she's in the shower. Like you can't even hear her sing. That's probably why she puts it up that high. But she always has music playing.
Okay, we know we got to get you out of here, so let's stay on music for a second. We're going to get off the group now, so we'll send your apology letters for you to those that maybe caught some strays during that. So
thanks.
I got to know, who is running your Instagram when it comes to the music choices for your post? Because it is bangers only. I was telling Tom last night, I was scrolling through stuff. I downloaded about 10 songs on Spotify last night just because I was watching your feed. Do you choose it or does somebody else?
No, I kind of choose it. A friend of mine, her name's Monica Marcassani. She works for Golf Australia and the PGA of Australia doing social media. And so a couple of songs I've seen her post, not necessarily for them, but on her own personal. And I've used them a couple of times before, but I feel like my algorithm also suggests some of the music as well. But I always ask my husband to approve if it's too much or if it's the right song for the post that I'm putting. So he also helps me in a way. But yes, I do put effort into that. So I'm glad that someone appreciates that.
No joke. If you're not a golf fan, folks, if you're listening to this, you probably are. If you like music, you should be following Hannah Green because, like I said, I got some new music recommendations last night. So,
all right. So Hannah, next Friday, Team Australia is playing Team USA in the World Cup, and you are going to be playing golf. What? No. Are you going to be getting updates while you're on the course? You're going to have somebody like your caddy checking scores for you?
Well, my caddy probably would actually. He's actually South African. They obviously didn't go the greatest yesterday, but I feel like I am going to be totally honest. I don't follow soccer that much, but when it comes to World Cup, I feel like people watch just because it's on. But I was looking at the team, and I really don't know a lot of players. But obviously I want Australia to do well, so I feel like my caddy will also be telling me how it's going, but then my osteo, Aaron, who's Australian as well, he'll probably be giving me updates. The game tomorrow is, I think, at 11 p.m. And he's like, yeah, let's stay up and watch it. And I'm like, we'll see. Maybe I'll just wake up in the morning and see what the results are.
Yeah, there you go.
Yes, go Australia. But yeah, next week won't be live updates from myself, at least.
Hannah, we know you have a really busy schedule right now. We're going interview to interview. We can't say thank you enough for making time for us. We're so fired up to see you playing such great golf, and we're really excited to see your second attempt at Hazeltine. So best of luck, certainly at Hazeltine and for the rest of the way.
Yeah, thanks, guys. That was a lot of fun.
If you have suggestions for players or topics to discuss on the podcast, send us an email at fringecoverage@gmail.com. And make sure you follow us on Instagram at FringeCoveragePod. And whether you're approaching from the fairway or the rough, we've got you covered inside the Fringe.